What's up, YouTube? Let's do another one of these intro videos. This week's episode, we had Ramenman. Technically, he started his fight like last episode, but this week, if I'm timing my upload right, he's gonna finish up his fight. So yeah, Ramenman, pretty cool Chinese guy. Maybe slightly insensitive back in the 80s, but I think he's kind of been redeemed. He's kind of been moved away from like the more insensitive roots to being a lot cooler, right? I think being voiced by Tomokazu Seki does that for you. If I think like that's his voice actor. I'll have like recheck that after that. Ramenman. He's a really popular character. Maybe not so much with Americans. I'm not so sure, but he's a really neat guy, I guess. So let's talk about Ramenman today. Especially if you're interested from playing him after watching the anime. He did have some pretty cool fights where he got to show off his cool kung fu. As you can tell, yeah, he does like kung fu. That doesn't make him like the Bruce Lee function or whatever, if that's really a thing. He's not a Bruce Lee clone, is what I mean, right? But he does do some pretty cool, like, punches and like these like kung fu kicks and stuff like that. He does have like the dragon kick, that you just expect from like a, I guess Bruce Lee-esque character. But I won't say he's like, a Jeet Kune Do fighter or whatever. He's just Ramenman. So how does Ramenman play in this game? Ramenman is a very aggressive rushdown character. He has some really good frame data, some really fast strings. Like there's a really fast string. This is like also pretty fast, and also like a lot of heavy stun moves that are very fast for being a heavy stun or knockdown move, right? Like this kick is like 15 frames. This little shoulder is 16 frames. Yeah. Just the point is like sub 20 frames, which is quite rare in this game. A lot of heavy stun moves in this game are like high 10s or low 20 frames. Ramenman has a lot of heavy stun moves that are just, mid 10s frames, 15 frames, 14 frames, 16 frames, and that makes it really good for pressuring. Remember that in MGP2, if you block a heavy stun move or a knockdown move, you get pushed back, right? Something like this. And so this means that Ramenman is very good at pushing people at the ropes, and then once at the ropes, he can just do these really fast moves to just kind of pressure you, get you rope bounce and all that stuff, right? So that's the really nice thing about him. And then when he does get that rope bounce, the really cool thing about Ramenman is that he does a lot of damage. He has like special throw, which every good character kind of should have, right? He does like a standing combo clutch. I don't think he does this in this fight, but this was from the original anime, trust me. And if you saw that earlier too, he also does get a really good OTG, because his 2A, 66S is just an OTG combo, right? And it also combos on normal hit, on like standing hit, but those combos on OTG, which is like a lot of damage. He has a shoulder, like an arm breaker throw, which, as you know from this game, arm breaker throws like are a lot of damage typically, and also gives you like a lot of time to OTG. So just doing this throw into his 2A 66S OTG combo, that's a cool like 300 damage, that's really good from a throw, right? Just randomly getting opened up and then just eating like a quarter to a third of your life. That's really nice. So yeah, that's really good to have. Probably the crowning moment of Ramenman's damage output, though, are probably his juggles. Maybe you've seen them before if you've seen Ramenman around, but Ramenman has a really strong natural combo, which is very rare in this game. A lot of strings in this game are not natural strings, but Ramenman does have one of the best ones, and that is this little chop, which does way too much damage, into the kick, and then into that. As you can see, that was a launcher off of a little chop, which, granted, is pretty stubby. You basically have to be rubbing against your opponent to land this chop. But if you do, you get to just natural combo with like this whole string into a full launcher. And what is Ramenman's juggle combo look like, you ask? Well, something like this. He just kind of does the same string 3 times. And that does 442 damage. I don't know if you saw that. I'm gonna do that again. 442, which is kind of insane, right? Like this little fairly low risk, though again very stubby chop. You just randomly do like 40% on people, and that's really scary. Ramenman quickly just wins games because he just does so much damage randomly, in large part due to this like really good juggle. I dropped it there, but I'm get the idea. And so yeah, that's really the strength of Ramenman. If you like to hold forward, you like to just rush people down, right? Just want to get in there, be aggressive, do a lot of damage, right? Ramenman is so good for that purpose. And he also has like this few little combos. He has like a pretty big move list, like a lot of strings. To be honest, most of them don't really matter. He might look more complicated than some characters, and maybe he's a bit more complicated than like Kinnikuman or Brocken from last week, but he's actually still pretty straightforward, right? None of the situations are really difficult, honestly. But he can do stuff like get cool pickups such as 6A, knocking down. He can do a pickup like that and then get like an OTG afterwards, you know? So he can just do like some really neat juggles like that. So yeah, just overall a character that's like with a lot of like pretty neat combos, like some really explosive combos, explosive damage too from stuff like the special throw, right? And yeah, just you can just really quickly win rounds from just doing that. Now, what are Ramenman's weaknesses? For the longest time, full disclosure, I remember when I first got into the game, I was like, oh, Ramenman has to be broken, right? He does so much damage, his frame data is so good, which back then we didn't even know frame data, but we can tell, like, this looks fast. This is just a chop. There's no way like his frame data is bad, right? And they're not. They're actually pretty good. We didn't know at that time that this is actually like one of the most insane frame data moves, but that's the point. But back then we used to think he was really good. I remember like one of the very first tier lists I made for this game, which again is a old shame. I think I put him like top 5, which I don't believe anymore. Because the more we learn about it, he does have some weaknesses. Not major weaknesses. He's still like really decent, still really good at it. But he does have weaknesses that are probably still good to acknowledge. His throw punishment. His throw punishment is kind of awkward because his only 2 buttons that punish the throw is his jab string, which that's all that's guaranteed, like just AA, right? And it's only 26 damage, which is kind of awful. And it's not even very very plus. Or he can do 6A, which is very difficult. Remember that throw. Oh, I got it there actually. Neat. A throw tech is minus 16. Or rather, like a tech throw is minus 16. This move is 15 frames, which basically makes this a frame perfect punish in this game because frame perfect punishes aren't real in this game. So this is basically a frame perfect punish, and it is really annoying to do. It's probably his best throw punish, but just the fact that it's so tight makes it not ideal, right? With meter though, the good thing about his jab is that this is a combo, right? So it's like a kind of nice. You can basically convert his jab into a launcher. Unfortunately, this launcher is kind of bait because you look at it and you see like, oh, it's like this big high launcher, but jumping off of it is actually kind of awkward because it launches them so high that unlike his regular launcher, you gotta have like manually time it like that, right? Timing like this juggle is actually kind of difficult. That even though on paper you can get the same juggles that you can from his regular, 4A and stuff, it's a lot harder off of like that 6S launcher. So not great, right? Likewise, you can also like throw crush it with a few other buttons, right? You can do 8A, that's not kind of bad though. You can do 2A, which is a lot better because 2A also combos into 6S, but also has the same problem as a 6S in that doing this, getting like the juggle is kind of awkward. Like a little bit better than that, but still, it's kind of awkward because of just having like manually delay your juggle basically. It's still like, can still get a cool counter damage, which a lot of characters will be very jealous of, so it's not like it's a big problem, but it is kind of like an annoying thing, right? And of course, you have to use meter for it, right? Without meter, all you can get is just this, or you can do the throw crush of 2A, charge cancel, which is honestly not bad. This leaves him like +7, right? Which is still really good frame advantage. So it's not even bad to just like do this charge cancel. Or, you have to go for the almost frame perfect punish, which is again, in this game, is extremely annoying. Because it's without like a buffer from a throw punishment, from like a throw tech, you basically have to. This is basically like a very tight 1 to 2 frame link. Right, there we go. And then you can get like the little combo I was doing earlier with a 2A to 4A juggle. But that's a bit difficult. If you notice earlier from like his big, big honking juggle, right? When he does this, you might notice that it doesn't knock down, right? If I do it again here, your opponent is able to like tech roll because like this doesn't end on an SKD, and that's because Ramenman doesn't really have a lot of great SKD tools. He just doesn't have a lot of them, which means if he just does like the juggle, the opponent gets to tech roll, so you don't really get to like continue your pressure as you might be able to with characters who are able to get a proper knockdown of their juggles, right? He does have ways to get them, you kind of have to go through hoops. One way to do them, for example, is to basically use this special moves, which we'll talk about the special moves more later. They can do something like this. Let me try that again one more time. This isn't even easy. It's just like an option he can do. Right? And this sacrifices damage and costs like 1 bar of meter to do. Or is it even 2 bars? I believe like this is like a 1 bar special move. Yeah, it's a 1 bar special move. So like you sacrifice 1 bar to do less damage and like just get a knockdown. And it's not even a good knockdown because 4-4S like has like 60 frames of recovery. Like it's like really criminal like that. So that you don't even get an OTG out of the SKD, right? A lot of SKDs you still get an OTG off of. You don't get an OTG off of this if you do this route, right? Like look how slow that is, right? By the time I dash back in, that already like yeah, it leaves you like really far away. You have to close the distance, and by the time you get in, you don't even have like frame advantage really, right? Which kind of defeats the purpose of getting an SKD because you want to get that frame advantage from getting a knockdown, right? Here's like another way to do it, which is even mirrorless, and it does more damage, and it's really good. However, it's also kind of difficult. If you're a Ramenman player though, you definitely want to do this. So again, this is also kind of like a fake weakness, because just be good, right? Just do the hard combo forehead. But this is actually like kind of annoying to do as well. It was something like this, if I can actually get it right. There we go, I almost get it, but you kind of see the idea there, right? Because his only other thing that SKDs is like this 2A to 1-4A string combo, right? He does have like this 1-4A by on its own, but this doesn't SKD only like in this string, which is kind of random, but there you go. And this means that the only way to SKD besides this awful drill kick is by comboing into 2A to 1-4A, which is kind of slow and awkward to do, right? He can do it, but again, not easy. There we go. And then you get the OTG, but of course, as with all SKDs, doing an OTG afterwards is kind of difficult. But if you do get the OTG, it is more damage than a regular route. So it's just strictly better, but it involves 2 more difficult parts because you have to like get like that 2A to 1-4A link, and you have to be able to get the OTG after the SKD, right? So it's a much more difficult combo than just doing a string 3 times with like kind of good timing, right? But again, this doesn't knock down, that one does, so it just makes it better, right? So that's kind of the thing with Ramenman. It's just SKDs, not necessarily impossible, but just unnecessarily difficult. I guess is how I'll put it. For the record, there's an obvious thread between like this weakness and the last one. Ramenman really isn't very bad. His weaknesses are almost like made up. Maybe I'm kind of like reaching here, but it kind of just goes to show he's like really solid character. You can't really go wrong with playing him. He's not like the best character ever, but I don't think top 10 is crazy for him. At the very least, like top 15. Definitely like in the upper half of the cast, I think is fair to call with Ramenman. His OTGs are like kind of like not like, I mean, this is crazy, right? Like there's like a 130 damage OTG, right? I was showing it off earlier with the arm breaker that doing this into this is just like a lot of damage, but without the meter, it's kind of whatever. Specials, yes, let's get to that in a second. But yeah, OTGs, because besides his besides that exactly, 8A is his 8A doesn't hit most characters. It hits like big bodies, but it doesn't actually hit most non-big characters, right? Unlike most people 8A, so he doesn't actually have like like a meterless slow OTG, like a big body splash or like an elbow drop or anything. All he has is just this, which is just 52 damage, right? So that's kind of like not amazing. He doesn't have any other OTG besides that. Of course, with meter, this becomes 130, but without meter, it's just like 52 damage and plus frames, which is not bad, but it's not amazing, right? He doesn't have as many options as even like Kinnikuman, right? Kinnikuman also has the same. You can do 2A for 6S or just 2A for friendly advantage. But Kinnikuman, if you just want to have like a big middleless OTG, you can just do 8A, right? Ramenman can't do that because he doesn't have like a normal 8A. But yeah, as the chat mentions, special moves. That's probably the main weakness in Ramenman, but it's even like kind of unfair to say the weakness. It's just that he doesn't have good special moves. But that doesn't mean that makes him bad, because he still has all of this, right? So that's not even really a weakness. He just doesn't, just because he doesn't have them doesn't even really make them a weakness. But yeah, he doesn't really have great special moves. Obviously, this is good, kind of, and this special and his special throw, which what more can you ask, right? Honestly, if those are his 2 special moves, It's basically like on the same character, because his other ones are kind of bad. You've seen like this drill kick being very mediocre, this 5S kind of also like very gimmicky. It's kind of just like a little jump kick that's also leaves you very far away. He has like a hit grab, which like most hit grabs are just kind of not good. This like Lariat actually may be kind of decent. I'll have to like think about this more. Which full disclosure, I'm not like a huge Ramenman player, so I'm not like super confident with everything here, so I think that they're gonna assault. But this like Lariat like kind of alright. Like it's like kind of evasive. Not as evasive as like, you know, the really like evasive special moves, but you can kind of be cheeky with it, I guess, and then you do get like a combo off of it if you do hit it properly. At some ranges, you get to like pick up with that, I believe. But I'm not getting it, so you'll just have to like take my word for it. Oh, this is maybe one of the worst special moves in the whole game. What even is this? This is like, you know, one of those like gimmick cross-ups, but this game doesn't have, like, this game like has a block button, right? You don't have to like decide which way to block, so you kind of just look at it and just go, okay, I'm just gonna hold block, or just sidestep, or just literally do anything. And he has this, which is a 5-bar chain hit grab, which is actually kind of cool if you get like the full extension. Because he does that into all of this, right? And that does 272 damage. Landing Camel Clutch by itself does 312, so you have so you never want to do this. But again, it's at least kind of cool. At least kind of cool, you know, you can do like some pretty cool looking moves, but it's just for style, really, for like flavor. It's not actually good, right? Oh yeah, and that's a good point too, that if the opponent does hold block, doing this, right, it just auto-corrects them because it's so slow. Especially, yeah, you can just like you see that it's just free, like just hold block, right? So, you know, it's not even good on block. I think this move is like what, minus. It's minus 9 on block. It's actually like not awful on block. You still like don't want to do it, but I guess you don't die for getting it blocked, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of Ramenman. But again, the last, I don't know, like 8-10 minutes of this spiel have just been me listing like weaknesses that aren't really weaknesses. They're more so just there to basically go, hey, Ramenman isn't the most broken character, but he's really solid. I think he's still really good. Maybe a bit of a noob stomper, you know, because he just does so much damage so quickly. It's really hard to deal with his moves if you're not used to him. But you can get really far if you just learn a basic Ramenman playing against like your friends who are just getting into the game. So yeah, if you are new to the game, you want to, you know, stomp your friends, but you don't want to pick Mountain, Ramenman is honestly pretty close to that. Except Ramenman probably, you know, it's a lot less corny than Mountain, right? So there's that. As usual, I will leave you all with his supers. He has the Kowloon Wall Drop, which is, yeah. Oh wait, he does use this move to beat Marvelous, right? I think like this is the move he used to beat Marvelous, like where he does like the little drops, like slam like that. So that's you know, you all know that, right? So that's pretty cool. It's kind of fast for a super, but it is like a strike super, so that's still a little cringe. But it's pretty fast for a strike super. You can CCC into it from stuff like this. Oops. Like that shield combo if I did it properly, you know? That's pretty cool. And it gives you OTG as well. And then his other super is a rope-only super throw. And that is a really big dramatic flying leg lariat. This one doesn't give you OTG, unfortunately. But it's still cool. It's still like neat. Oh man, yeah, just really solid. Unlike the last season, where every Devil's Region I just go like, he's bad. He's not good. He's okay at best. Basically, every character this season, besides maybe one or two, I'll basically go, which, for the record, are not the Amethyst Trojans, which is like, you know, maybe a small spoiler. But every character basically like the season, I'll basically go, yeah, he's fine, he's good, he's solid. So look forward to that, right? Look forward to like, you know, more positivity in these videos, though maybe not as interesting because I don't just like slam characters. Maybe like that's more your taste, maybe it's not. We'll see. But I hope you all will enjoy the anyways. But yeah, that's Ramenman. That's this Chinese Kenpo master. Definitely give him a try. Very, very good, very fair, very fine character to play with. So if you like him from like the show, give him a shot. I think the next match that will be, if again it sticks to the manga, will be Black Hole. Black Hole versus like a Faucet Man. I think his name is Jack Fawcett, Jack Cheese, something like that. So Black Hole fans rejoice, but I have already made a Black Hole video earlier, like in the for last season, so I won't be double dipping on that. However, there might be like another character that we'll be seeing sooner than later in this video, in this match. So stay tuned to that, and then maybe expect like that video next week. Manga readers will know who I'm talking about, and I'll catch you for that one. Keep playing MGP2, and I'll see you in the next video.